Hey everyone, so I am going to do a tag that I was tagged in like over a year ago, and I'm so sorry I didn't get to this. So much has been happening. Also, I felt that I don't know if I had all the answers, but I'm just gonna go ahead and do this tag, and maybe eventually I'll do it again if I miss some of the prompts. So, make sure my recording's going good. Okay. So this is the effed up book tag, and this was created by, I believe, Guilty Feet, and I was tagged by Argyle Dinosaur. So go check out their channels, great stuff. I am sorry because they tagged me in this, and Argyle Dinosaur had great answers and a great video, and I wanted to do this soon after that they did theirs. When it was going around and everything. But like I said, life sucks. So here I am doing it now. Prompt number 1 is a book that was effed up in a good way. See, I'm watching videos and I keep forgetting the point of this one, because, well, I guess when you have something that's called the effed up book tag, it's a very subjective, well, I mean, all book tags are, right? Because they're usually based on things you like or dislike, so I guess they all are, but this one in particular is like really just opinion based, right? Because what is effed up to one person, or from one person to another, right? So a book that was effed up in a good way. So for me, this is going to be one that maybe can teach a lesson, or that was just maybe entertaining. So for this one, I am going to say Battle Royale. And maybe a shout out to my favorite, The Hunger Games, because both of them, they have a similar plot line, and it's pretty messed up. I mean, it's kids fighting to the death. On one hand, Battle Royale is much more violent, bloodier. There's not much room to kind of get away with things, because it is set in an alternate Japan, where I think it's every year. I was a little confused by that, but I think it's every year. They basically take a bus full of school kids, put them to sleep, and they stick them on this island where they fight to the death. And they have these collars that will basically explode on the third day if there's not a final winner. So there sometimes isn't a winner for Battle Royale. And of course, the Hunger Games, you have the whole idea of poverty and, people well, I mean, it is control for Battle Royale too, the government controlling people. But with the Hunger Games, it's a little more driven with political themes and stuff. It is in Battle Royale too, but I think they kind of drive that point a little bit more. But Battle still has a lot of important themes, a lot of characters you cared about, backstory, issues about morals and stuff like that. So I would say those two. A book that was effed up in a bad way. I haven't really read a book that was effed up in a bad way. Yeah, I guess I've been lucky enough not to read something that I consider bad. I either haven't finished it and I don't remember it, or I've been on BookTube and now BookTok long enough that when I hear something that's that bad, I just kind of avoid it. I didn't recognize it at first, and I will continue the series because I just want to continue series that I read. Um, but you probably can point out some messed up stuff in Twilight. I don't know if it's effed up level, but it's not that great either. A book that everyone loved but you think is just effed up. You know what? Like I said, nothing really comes to mind. Maybe Twilight. There's books that I've heard about that I have no interest in. And I haven't read them to know if they're like to effed up level. Like, I have no interest in 50 Shades of Grey because that just seems like a misunderstanding of the community she was trying to write about. And it just sounds bad. It's not erotica or horror or anything, but Me Before You sounds kind of messed up and ableist, so yeah, I have no interest in that one. A sexy effed up. The only thing that I've read close to that is the first book in the Claiming of Sleeping Beauty series. That one was out there. That is an erotica written by Anne Rice under a pen name. Effed up for kids. Again, that's subjective. That depends on what you think is too much for, and I'm not talking about things like adult themes that obviously kids shouldn't be reading, like the book that I just mentioned, but there are kids' books that have very heavy themes in there, and it depends on the age, because there's children's books and then there's middle grade books, but then some people lump it all together and still consider some middle grade children's books because they are children still. So it really depends on the grade level and what you think your child can handle, right? Because Goosebumps might be too scary for some kids. And then, Goosebumps is like spooky fun. Get away, bee, right? And some of it can be more on the creepy side. But then there are books that are a little bit more serious, like The Giver. So that is a dystopian where people live in a world where everything is chosen for them. And at first it's presented as this utopian to this boy, this main character, until he learns about the past when people had choices and family. And there is a scene with twins that is maybe a little graphic for, something that is considered middle grade or a children's book. A book that I read and liked a couple years ago, I think it's maybe about 2 years ago, was called The Shape of Thunder, and it's a middle grade book that revolved around basically the aftermath of a school shooting. So I would say The Shape of Thunder. I would say The Giver. Probably a few others that I can think of. The Miraculous Journey of Edward Tulane. That had some kind of deep moments to it, as did Because of Winn-Dixie. So it really depends. An effed up classic. I really need to read more classics. So the one that comes to mind is probably To Kill a Mockingbird because of the outcome and everything. But sadly, it was a thing that happened in, society and our history and everything, and it is screwed up to think, that kind of thing was inspired by real life in many ways. Effed up in translation. So I've never read anything that I found out was mistranslated. There are some interesting scenes in some manga, and again, Battle Royale is pretty graphic at times. Effed up nonfiction. I don't read a lot of nonfiction, so I'm going to go with stuff that I learned in school and history because, again, human beings are pretty fucked up at times. Illustrated effed up. I'm going to go back to manga. There's some mature scenes in some. So this one, number 10, is based off A Little Life, and I forgot how to pronounce this author's name. So A Little Left Up, a book that is just misery porn, solely designed to convince you the world, how effed up the world is. Again, I haven't read anything like that. I tend to avoid things that are just misery porn, or just, something that's shocking for the sake of shock value and has no meaning or anything to it. So, yeah, that is me finally doing the effed up book tag. I hope you enjoyed it, and I tag anyone who possibly has not done this yet. Maybe I'm the only one. But anyways, thanks for watching, everyone. Bye-bye.